Okay, good morning. This is your buddy Jim here at Saw Logs Plastic Hubs. Today I've got a two-part video that I'm starting. I'm going to show you finished components, and I'm going to go in a little detail because I basically just want to let you know, show you what I made them out of, how I made them. So I may have got a little bit more detail. So I was a good friend of mine. Used to the guy that actually done my go-kart motors, and we've been knowing each other for years. His particular race cars that he runs is what they call a vintage car around here, which is basically somewhat like a early 70s, late 70s, late model. Somewhat. There's some things they do to them, but he runs Ford car. And with Ford, you have to get a lot of, it's hard to get a lot of little things. I mean, parts are hard to get. So what he had done, somebody, I don't know who made this one, this is an adapter pulley that goes between the harmonic balancer and the pulleys that attaches to the race car, the water pump and whatnot, power steering. And I'm not sure where this one goes, but these are the two he brought me. So I've got out in my pile of material, took some material that wasn't exact material and started from scratch and made these things. So there's a lot of operations. So there's going to be probably a two-part video. So this is part one, and I'm going to split it. And I think the way I'm going to split it is I'm going to basically show sawing it out of the square, knocking the corners off, putting it in the mill, and basically putting it on an arbor, making the round blanks to start with. And then part two will be the finished machining. And I think that's kind of the way I'm going to do it. And there's some tricky setups along the way. This particular bushing was fairly simple. This is straightforward. It was the hardest piece was to get it made out of material. But these were a little bit tricky because they was thin. There's some soft jaws involved. And he needed three because I think he's got to give some back to somebody of his friends or whatnot. So there was three of these I made. And I've done some interesting order of operations. So you're going to see that I ordered operations. I'm a little bit unusual. So with that being said, let's get on here. We're going to cut this aluminum and sling it up. You might want to gather your friends, children, dogs, anybody that's interested in an old man making an ass of himself. Jump right on in here. And we're going to be working on this stuff and try to get it made up. So I hope you enjoy it, and I'll come back and tell you bye here in just a second. We have a project. We don't have material. I've got some pieces to make, and this is race car components. These are not secretive. I've got permission to film them. Basically what these are spacers. Go on a bottom pulley. Now, I'll explain. These are basically going on a Ford engine so we can use readily available Chevrolet pulleys. Now my race car is a good friend of mine. He brought them over here and asked me, so I need to make one of these, and I've got to make three of them. So what we're doing is we're taking, first things first, we're going to take this round piece of stock and get it kind of close, and then we're going to work from there. The idea is get me something to work with. I just don't have any round stock in stock, so I'm going to just kind of try to make this out of what I got. It's going to be a little bit tough, but just come along and ride. So we're going to start out with sawing. Hey guys, I'm starting to saw this, and what I'm doing is I've got this big piece of round aluminum, and I'm trying to preserve pieces of aluminum. I'm going to be honest with you, because things just sometimes come in handy. So I'm going to use two different sets of saws to prep the stock with. The first saw is my vertical band saw, and while this isn't the best method, Again, I've got this as scrap material. It's bought at scrap prices. So, I'm not going to bore you with the whole sawing of everything up. You know, I could do that. Yeah, I'm going to do it this way. So, sometimes you can outthink yourself with these projects. I'll bring you back and I'll get this cut off. That's the part of it. You see, I've got some more work to do. We'll set up on the other saw now. Okay, so now what we have is a plate that's just a little bit bigger in all the dimensions than the part. What this will give us is when we get ready to drill the hole, everything we can just we can center the hole in it, then we can turn this into a round plate. Probably what we'll do is drill the hole, then we'll turn back and mark it again and cut the corners off. But we ain't got that far yet. Anytime you can saw when it's vertical sawing, you don't have to put no effort in it. Since I don't have a sliding table saw, it behooves you to do it. So that's what we're doing right now. And again, we're going to have some extra material. We'll put it over outside in the pile and it'll be recycled or used on some other project that I need. I'll just have some out of square aluminum I can square up and machine maybe something else out of it. It always pays to, and I know somebody's going to say, why are you going through the trouble? Why not get round stock? I'd have to go and order the round stock or go to Charlotte and get a piece cut, and the price is fairly exorbitant. I bought this stuff for next to nothing. I mean, this job's not a high profit job. I'll pass it. I'm going to probably charge, you know, just enough to recoup some of my costs. And I ain't going to burn them a new butthole. And it's for a friend of mine, so I'm trying to keep my costs down. And the way to do it is use this material like this. And I bought all this material out of the scrap bin, metal supermarkets, basically for 60, 50, 60, 70 cents a pound. I mean, you know, I can afford to put some time in it. These pieces, a piece of 3.5, 4 inch piece of aluminum, you know, having it cut to 3 inch, whatever, it's going to cost you. I mean, a 3 inch piece is something like $35 for 40. So yeah, we're going to cut these short. We're going to cut them up and use the fixtures. The plan with this is to cut it, bore it, get it round, then come back and cut my spacers, fix it, and machine the spacers out of that. So it's a whole complete idea here. Okay, you are a little bit uneven, but that's fine. Folks, I'm just going to go right in here and I'm going to poke a 1/2 inch hole. And I'm going to actually put a 1 inch in it because the sample part's got a 1 inch rough hole in it. That's what we're going to use here. Okay, drill it. You may hear the saw in the background. We're sawing the other piece. Let me knock this here piece of chip off. And this is, and like I said, when I said this a minute ago, I'll repeat it. I'm doing this more so I'm not doing this. If I was going to charge for this job at what should be charged, I would probably go get the right material. And it would be a lot, it would save some of this work. But then again, I've got this material with a very low cost in it. And I'm not going to have that much extra time in it. Yes, I'm going to have to saw this other end. The biggest thing I'm going to spend extra time is making it round. And that's it, you know. Let me stop and work out. I'll bring you back when I start on the other hole sides. Now we're just going to punch the 1 inch hole in it. If there's a little run out, it's not going to matter because sorry, I reached over and knocked some chips off my oven. This kind of work's all about preparation. There we go. We got a nice little 1-inch hole through the part. I think it's all the way through. It's basically, that's what we got, a nice 1-inch hole punched to it. Okay, I'm cutting this last corner. I done see I've got to do some editing. Just something I didn't want to do. I run like a 15-minute segment. I got to cut some of it out. Basically, this is the last corner. And we just mark these things and cut. And I know as you can look at it, this just don't look very even. Quite frankly, it probably isn't. We allow a lot of material here to be cut off. And this is probably the most challenging piece that I've ever did because it's cut out of a round piece. We're going to get her cut off here in just a minute. And then we'll have you the stop sign to show you. Alright, this is about 300 RPM. And we're just going to see if it make sure everything clears before we cross the first time. And we're going to start making it round. The saw's still sawing over there, by the way, on the other big old block. We'll be working on it pretty soon. That's just a regular CNMG insert. That's actually a 434, a 4 radius I'm using right now. It's because the steel insert, because it's shorter, closer to the chuck. So we just taking the first few cuts, see what we got. Basically trying to get it, just making a round piece. Aluminum's fairly forgiving, and especially this 1-inch arbor in it, which really gives it a lot of support. So we're just actually trying to make a round part right now. It'll take a good many passes just to get this down to being round. I don't know how much more seaming I'm going to work, but it's kind of what I'm doing. Come to think of it, I got something else I want to do. I got to change something. Okay, I've got this one turned down to the size. It's a hair bit smaller than the original, but it still will be fine. So I've got this one turned down to size, or rounded in size. Had to do that to square it. I had a little bit more hollow in it than I thought. So this one's ready to start making its part out of. We're going to work on this other one. Okay, I've got this one turned down to the size. It's a hair bit smaller than the original, but it still will be fine. So I've got this one turned down to size, or rounded in size. Had to do that to square it. I had a little bit more hollow in it than I thought. So this is ready to start making its part out of. We're going to work on this other one. Normally I don't shoot this view very often. I've got this tightened up and mounted, and I've got my RPM set. So what I do with these situations is I just try to catch a corner, see where I've got the feather stick out, because really what we've done here, we just sometimes just touch a corner because it's not going to really matter. And as we engage our feed rate, let me see if I've got the camera on. Yeah. So this is just the way I do this. And we just run across these interrupted cuts just like that. Now, you got to interrupt the cut because yes, you do have your square is in the center. And we try to knock the oblongs off, and they're just roughly sawed. They're not sawed perfectly. I don't really try to get them perfect. By now I've got a standard steel insert heavy nose radius, and the only reason I do that is because this tool is cut back further. It lets me get into these bigger diameters. So basically what I'm going to do is just take another healthy cut, engage the lathe, and you'll hear it again. Now you're hearing it engage more. We're basically going to make it round, then we'll check it against the part that we're going to use. What I'm going to probably do with this, and you got to understand this is all roughly sawed material, so we got to start, just like any other machining operation, you have to establish a surface to work from. So that's kind of what we're doing. Folks, right there on my bench now I have my two blanks prepared out of the square. I've got more machining to do. So before I go any further, I'm going to change my chuck jaws around and I'm going to face these things off, and then we'll go from there. So basically what I've got is two rough pieces. Now my plan is I only need 3 of them black things, and I want to saw this out. So I'm kind of working on the idea of trying to make these things sort of like this by copying this part. And so what I'm going to do, this is actually the same size here. And what I'm going to do is once I face this off, we're going to we'll basically, I'm going to machine these flat, and then I'm going to transfer the holes. Part of the plan. What I've done is I've just set this up in the vise using my 1-inch bolt, tightened the original part without my transfer punch. Make sure I'm not going to move this. That's critical right there. Not to let that move any. And make sure that's transfer punch is in line, and we're going to transfer punch each one of these holes. Make sure all that ain't moved. Okay. Transfer punch is down in the center because this is just, like I say, just slid on there like this. All right, now that way I can figure out the drill. Let's go Chandler enter Mr. Pete here today. I'm just going to use a small drill to follow the holes and start them with. So I'm going to drill all of these. This is aluminum, but it's fairly soft. It's not very big holes. So we're just going to drill these by hand right here on the drill press. We transfer them. And the main reason I'm doing this is it's a lot easier. Since I decided I'm going to do all this by transferring, it's just a lot easier to do the transfer holes like this. So I'm going to step drill them. I just found a smaller drill that was easier to maneuver first. I do miss my quill wheel when I'm using the drill press, folks. All right, I'll hit this with a D-bar so it will lay flat. So I'm drilling the second hole, and basically that's the idea behind what I'm doing. simple. Because I have a solid puck, I can get a lot better, flatter, more accurate drill. Actually, I would have probably, if I knew the bolt pattern and done this in the mill, I would have probably done the same thing. Clamped it up in the mill and drilled it the same way. But the truth of it is, since I've got a sample, transfer punch is the way to go. So this is simple. It's a lot less work. A lot less setup time. And the reason I'm doing it this way is because since I'm transfer punching it, I'd rather have the holes in it and have the interrupted cut because it's aluminum. We're going to deburr all this stuff up and make it look pretty anyway. Not going to be no great loss. So now I got a hole pattern. I'm running on the bore size now. I'm going to run a spring pass through there and just to clean it up good. And that's all we're going to do right there, son. It's going to give us the part. Now what I've got, these will look a little smaller because I decided to drill them the same holes, and if they wanted them spaced out a little bigger, if they want these bigger holes in this, because it looked like it'd been played with a lot. So I have no idea what they did. So instead of me trying to figure out what they've done, I'm going to leave it and that way we can always bore these out that bigger size, which I may still go back and put the 1/2 inch holes in them. Probably what I'm going to do. So now I've got this ready to lay out. I'm going to probably put bigger holes in it, and that way I'd feel better. I'm not going to put the counter bores that don't look like I used them, so we'll just do it that way. Right here is the progress so far. This is the billet for this piece, and this is going to be the billet we cut the little washers out of. I've already blued it up, so now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to lay this out and mark it off and allow me facing. Probably what I'm going to do is mark it off here and off the other end and get my facing from each end to line it up to saw it, because I don't think I need but 3 of these. And then I'm going to go back in and see if I can split the middle or something. Probably put it back in the lathe and actually face it off after I do that. But I've got, this one's kind of confusing the way these holes are in it. So these holes are a 1/2, and I don't know where they use wrenches and try to hold it. It's awful thin. So I'm going to leave that, and I'm going to send it to them like this, because I'm thinking that's going to be a little better. And they could put that, because if it's going on a pulley, I'm not sure where this goes, the inside or outside, but my darn position is if it goes wherever, it would be a lot better not to have them extra holes in it. I just went ahead and put the 1/2 inches in it to match the originals. So that's what we got. The bolt pattern is essentially the same, so I didn't have to fight that. So there we go. Okay, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I probably have beat a dead horse a little bit on this, and I went through how sometimes I decide to do things. Now this is going to be a disclaimer. The disclaimer is what I'm showing you is not always the ideal method. It's what I decided to do because I had material. And I write my time off a lot. Some of it's for video purposes. This is a hobby even to a certain degree yet. So, with all that being said, I wouldn't think if you was going to go out and quote this job to make it, you would buy the material and it would be a lot simpler. But you know, then you're putting probably $30 to $40 in the material, my guess. I had this laying around here that come out of a scrap bin, so That's why I chose to do what I did. So, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Please like, comment, and share. If you got something to say, go ahead and put them comments in. And if you're stopping by for the first time, this is the kind of content I have. So why don't you whirl up there and hit that subscribe button. Subscribe to the videos. There's always something interesting comment on the machining side. Usually on my Wednesday videos are a lot like vlogs. So this is more of a job. So you sit back, enjoyed this video, I hope you come back, see part 2, and we'll see you in the next video.